Have you ever met someone who is brilliant at business, an amazing author, a profound speaker, and a war hero? Because that's who we're going to be talking to today, Dr. Sonja 𝐕𝐢𝐝𝐶. She is an absolute triple threat, and she is about to break your brain for any lady out there who wants to learn how to speak, do coaching, write books, just change your life in general. Fasten your seatbelt because we're about to take off. Dr. Sonja, how are you?
I'm great.
So
Thank
glad
you
to
for
have
having me. Whoa, you were talking about me.
I was talking about you.
I was talking about you. I didn't know. I was like,
And
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, everybody else knows. If you don't know, you're the only one don't know. So.
For sure. For sure.
Indeed. So you were in the military. You don't mind if I start with your military history?
No,
right?
go for it.
So you were in the military.
Yes.
Which branch again?
Army.
Army.
The best branch.
The best branch.
Yes.
I would expect you to say nothing less.
Yes.
Okay. And what was your MOS in the military?
A little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I started out enlisted. It was more of HR. We didn't call it that, but it was like 75 hotel. Most people that don't know, it was more, we call it behind the desk at the time. And then I switched over. I made a shift.
So you started out enlisted. For those of you who don't know what that means you go to boot camp.
Yes.
To be a soldier.
Yes.
To be a grunt,
private.
basically, a private.
You're at the very beginning.
You're at the bottom of the bottom.
Yes.
And then you got to work your way up. So what did you get your rank up to when you were enlisted?
To an E5.
E5, which
And
is a sergeant of
yes,
some kind.
Sergeant.
Okay.
I have to make sure I say that. It was a sergeant. But the reason why I went to Officer Candidate School, we called it OCS, is called a 90-day wonder. I had quite a few officers over me that were telling me what to do, that was half as qualified as I was, but they had been in maybe a year. And at this time, I'd been in maybe 4 years. It was very quick. I went through the ranks very quickly. And I decided it's time to go. But I had officers over me who recommended, like, why are you not an officer? Why? It's like, what is that? I didn't know. So,
and an officer in the Army is like an executive in business.
Absolutely.
Right? You're running stuff. You ain't doing stuff.
Absolutely.
You're running the people who are doing stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so you're a sergeant, and is that as high as you can go?
No, you can go to
As an
sergeant
enlisted?
major. No,
Sergeant
the highest
major.
is sergeant major.
Sergeant major,
Yes.
which is kind of like almost an officer, but not quite.
Pretty much. They pretty much run things, but however, our pay is different. Let's just say that.
Okay, so it's
they call the shots, we get paid more.
Different pay grade.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
So, sergeant, but you made it to sergeant, and then you said, I'm going to go to officer
Candidate school.
Candidate school. Now, don't you have to have a college degree to become an officer?
Yes. So what
you
I
already
did,
had a college degree?
Yes. So when I joined the military, I had 4 years of college, and because of my mom having a third grade education and really not knowing, and I wasn't around people who could tell me, hey, you probably need to take 3 more classes for you to get your degree. And I was not going to do anything else but go into the military. I knew. I'm the youngest of 12.
You knew from the age of 12 you were going into the military?
I probably knew about 10 years old because I used to see Be All You Can Be, this Army sticker throughout the house.
And you're like, I want to be all I can be.
But I didn't know part of my family was already in the military. The gap was, they were so much older than I was, and I didn't know.
Are you talking about siblings?
Yes.
We're so much older than you?
Yes.
Like
my oldest sibling is 81 years old.
Wow. So it's like...
About 30 years older than me.
That's mind-blowing.
Yes, it is.
My oldest sibling is a year and a half older than me.
Oh.
So, yeah, so I get it. No, I don't.
So enough to be my dad, he pretty much was the father figure in the house.
Gotcha. And so you knew at 12 you wanted to go into the military because you saw an advertisement you could be all you could be. Was it the travel? Was it the be all you could be? Was it what part about it was appealing?
It was just more of the things that you saw them do on commercials. It was like they were a community. Honestly, I wanted to join the Marines. I got to say that. That's what I thought I want. I saw them carry this log on their shoulder. I saw it.
Yeah, I've always wanted to do that.
Well, I was a tomboy back then, so it was like just all this adventure, and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with myself. Later on, I had a child at 15, so the dynamics of things changed, but I still needed to get out of my mother's house. Back then, it was, you got to leave at 18. Went to college, played basketball. That kept me out of trouble.
Played basketball in college?
Yes, I did.
What was your
I was
position?
a point guard,
Point guard,
of course.
Yes,
Silly question. Played for the Army, did all of that. So I joined the military as a private first class.
What did you major in college?
Business.
You majored in business, okay.
Nothing like what I do now.
Nothing,
right.
It's a totally different animal?
Yes.
So you majored in business, and then after you got tired of people who knew less than you bossing you around in the military, you said, I'm going to be an officer.
Yeah, we were out at training one day, and it was a lieutenant. He had been in maybe a year. I'd been in at 4 at this time, and he was telling me something, and I was like, sir.
And it was like, this doesn't make
Young
any sense.
kid. Like I say young kid. 20, maybe 22, 23. At this time, I'm probably mid-20s, maybe almost 30, I think it was. 28 years old. And I said, this is enough. When I took the test, it took me 3 years, mind you. Let me go back. It took me 3 years to take a class. Every year I took a class because
you were 3 classes shy of your degree.
Yes, and I was
So you had to get your degree before you could be an officer.
Yes.
So every year after you decided to be an
Yes.
officer, you went back, took a class,
Yes.
got a credit, took another class, next year got a credit,
3
took another.
years. Because I was a mom, early mom. I was
Gotcha.
a young mom. I was a wife, and I had a military career, so I couldn't just go full time. So
Okay.
it took me 3 years. I went back, went to officer candidate school, 90 days. We started out maybe 30 women with 125, 30 women. 15 of us graduated. 2 minorities, and I was one of the minorities. It was not cut out for us. But
Okay.
nonetheless,
Oh, but you already knew.
Yes.
You had already decided.
yes,
Okay. So you went into the military, you're an officer.
yes,
But you weren't just an officer and you weren't just enlisted, you actually went to war.
yes, combat, yes.
Combat.
Three.
Like
Three.
missiles, what'd you say?
Missiles,
Bullets, bombs.
everything. So they used to say back in the day, Myron, oh, you were on the front line. And they always thought those particular MOSs, you had to be infantry or ordnance or something like that to be on the front line. Well, it's changed. I wasn't just sitting at a desk anymore. When I went outside by the fence, it was 360. This is what I call 360 then. Here I am, a female, a mom, a wife at the time. I'm away from my family, and I'm in somebody else's war in Iraq. And that was a game changer for me. Your facial expressions.
Was it hard for you to know who the enemy was? Like,
Oh, absolutely. You couldn't see him per se. I told people, I said, I think I'd rather be almost in a spiritual war than a physical war.
because
Simply because a spiritual war, I know the enemy's coming. And I know what he's coming to do. Now, I knew what the physical war was, but you couldn't really see them. You didn't really know, other than hearing a big voice go off and saying, incoming. And it could be at the drop of a dime. You could be walking to the bathroom. You could be walking to dinner. You walked everywhere, full gear. It's 125 plus degrees outside.
and you got helmets and bulletproof vests
Everything.
and guns
Everything.
and
Everything.
M16s,
Everything.
everything.
Yes.
And you're an officer, so you have troops under your control.
Yes.
Are they called troops? Is that
Soldiers.
soldiers under your command? Not control, but under your
Yes.
command.
Yes.
Okay. How many soldiers do you have under your command?
Depending on where I was. When I was a
Okay.
commander, I would probably have about 200 to 300 at a time.
Okay.
When I was at a MEP station as a commander, we would have civilians come through. The MEPs is where you go to enlist in the military, take your physical, your test and all of that. So I was commander there. You would probably have at any time maybe 100 people that would come through at any time. When I was in Iraq, we probably had about 25. But the thing was, it wasn't the
25 people?
25 people. However, because of the position that I had in Iraq as a battle captain, it wasn't that. It was 30,000 to 60,000 more people that I was responsible for tracking. If there was a KIA, which is killed in action, MIA, missing in action, it wasn't just military, it was civilians as well. So we're in Iraq, a
Okay,
battlefield.
I don't understand what you mean. Why are civilians there?
Oh, they're contractors.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
they're
And they
contract-
get killed too.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. They're at war as well. So it wasn't just us in uniform. You got Army, Air Force, Marines, Navy, all of us, plus civilian contractors. That is the first time I'd had the utmost respect for civilians that were there, not in uniform, but they were doing the exact same things we were doing, if not more.
But not in uniform, not carrying weapons or carrying weapons?
Some.
Some
Most
carry
of them
weapons,
were
but
not.
most of them were not carrying weapons.
No.
They're just over there doing their job.
Yes, absolutely. Whereas ordnance, supply, admin, whatever the case may be.
Mind blowing.
It is.
I didn't even see. I didn't know that.
I'm glad I
Okay.
can bring light to something that most people don't even think about.
Yeah, really. On a scale of 1 to 10, like compared to all the other things you've done in your life, where would you put that?
Being the best or the most exciting? Elaborate a little bit more.
Just being the hardest.
Let me just compare it to what I do now.
Okay.
If I can be in a place like that for 15 consecutive months, away from my family, not knowing if I'm going to physically come back home.
Alive.
Yes. Now, I came back home, but my body came mentally. I didn't come back. That's a different story in itself. But I would say that would be in the hardest thing I've ever done. It would be number one.
Oh, I would imagine.
Having a child would be number 2. Giving
Wow.
birth, natural birth to 3 children.
Number 2.
Number 2. And if I had 3 top things, building a business.
Would be
I
number
knew
3.
if I could deal with those things, I could surely do this.
Wow. It probably also gives you, and I don't know if this is true or not, so you can tell me I'm totally wrong, and that's fine, but it probably also gives you insight into the fact that people are way more capable of way more than they think they are before they actually put themselves in that situation.
Absolutely. When you're there, you're thinking about, one, the safety of your battle buddy that's there with you. You're more concerned with everyone else, and then you're thinking about yourself. And I know that's the difference. Even I was sharing with you earlier when we were talking, I would take a bullet for some people, literally not even thinking about it, depending on where we are, to put myself in harm's way.
To make
that's
sure
how
they're
we were
okay.
trained. Yes.
Right. That's how you're trained.
Yes, absolutely. And so it carries
So it's an
over to
automatic
now.
response. It's not like even
Absolutely.
you
No,
don't
you
think
don't even
about
think about
it.
it.
Just
You don't think about it.
okay. And so fast forward, and we're going to get to the business stuff, y'all. But
Yes.
y'all need to understand who's getting to the business stuff. Okay. So you were also injured in combat.
Yes, I was.
Do you want to talk about that or not?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
I have post-traumatic stress disorder where there's certain loud noises. I hear everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like full alert, even probably when you're sleeping.
My husband says I have dog ears. I hear people in the other room talking. I get easily distracted from noise, especially when I'm doing events. But it is because of where I was. We had to hear everything. You just couldn't be in a place aware of everything. So that and traumatic brain injury, where one night I'll never forget. We're coming back from it's called watch night. You know, for Sunday, New Year's, you bring in New Year's. I was in church when we had it there. We're in a combat zone at church. You don't have an option.
Oh, you were at church?
Yes. And at that, we left.
Oh, watch night. That's what
Yes.
you meant when you said watch night, like
Yes.
a watch night service.
Yes, watch night service. yes.
For New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Okay.
Left there, came back to my room. It was probably 10, 15 minutes after, took a quick shower. Remember getting in bed. You have to be fully dressed. You're not getting in bed with lingerie and all that. You're fully dressed. You have your weapon by you. And all I heard, as soon as I laid down, it was like 12:17. I heard incoming. When you hear incoming, you have seconds to get out. Grab your Kevlar, and I hit my head on the wall that was there.
When the incoming exploded.
Yes, as I'm running out of where I was sleeping, I ran out and I dove inside because it was close. You could hear the mortars. You can hear all of this going off. And man, I'm smiling about it now. It wasn't funny then. I just remember blacking out for a second, just for a moment. And the only reason why I knew, because I heard somebody waking me up. I'm getting emotional about it. Stribling, you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I didn't really know what happened until years later. And when I say years, because you continue on with the mission. That's the difference, I think, that happens. Most people just stop where they are. We didn't have the time to stop, and you got to
evaluate.
Yeah, you have a couple of seconds, but that's it. After that, it's game on. You go back to everything else. But my life changed that night. Completely changed. Shortly later on, I came home. My body came back, but mentally, I didn't come back.
So when you say you changed, and what does that mean?
That's a near-death experience where just a moment and seconds you have the opportunity to get inside of a bunker to make sure you're not harmed. And just being able to see it just feet away from you where it landed is a game changer. It wasn't the hitting your head that was a game changer. It's being able to see that. You live with that for the rest of your life.
Being aware of the fact that, like, I almost left. Did I do everything I wanted to do?
Yes.
And am
That's
I
it.
going to make sure I do everything I intend to do from now on?
Absolutely.
So it gives you a different perspective on the past, a different perspective on the future, which absolutely changes your present.
It does.
Wow. Okay. So then, how did you go from that to being in-demand speaker, world-renowned author, businesswoman, I don't know, maybe I'm missing, like, how does that's a fairly major transition.
It was this, I got back home, I started dealing with all of the things that are from war and combat that people talk about that as an officer you're not supposed to talk about. First off, it's not supposed to happen to you. That is a facade that they painted, that we're invincible. And I really thought I was. But when I came home, I had to deal with it. So I just remember going through this phase of suicidal thoughts, all of that. I went through a divorce. I went through all of these things.
And that was was it because you survived and other people didn't? Was it because,
I can't really explain. It was just this day. I just remember this one day sitting at home on my couch, and I called it my suicide couch. That day I was going to take my life, and my prayer was, Lord, if you're going to let me live, don't let me live like this, because I felt like a dead woman walking. That was the very day I said, if you would just help me, you know, you're negotiating, like if you would just help me do this. I said, if you would just help me get through this, I promise you I will serve you with every part of my being.
Wow.
That very day, on my knees, I just remember getting up and my entire life changing, and I made a promise, and I kept my promise. So I went on this thing, I might even call it, I went on this journey. I went on this journey.
Like a quest, a vision quest?
Oh, yeah. I began to see my entire life flash before me, do this, and I literally began to see things before they actually happened. I just needed to do the work to get there. So I went through this whole part of, you should be a coach. I'm like, coach, what are you talking about? But I had been coaching for years and not really getting charged. I was doing it for the military. I was doing it just because people would ask me my opinion on something. And I just remember one day, I just went live on Periscope.
Wow, that's in the archives.
Yes.
Went live on Periscope.
And start sharing. I started out not as a business coach. I started out as a divorce coach, because I went through a horrendous divorce after being married 18 years. And I just started going live on Periscope 10 o'clock every night, because I knew what women were doing at 10 o'clock at night when it was time to go to bed. They were praying, they were crying, they were trying to figure out what they were going to do with their lives.
So you knew who your audience was. You
did.
knew where to make yourself findable for them. And you knew exactly what to talk to them about because you were there.
Yes. And it would be so, remember Periscope days, there's a certain max number that can get in the room. We would max out, and people were sending messages on Facebook, I can't get in, I can't get in, or on Twitter, I can't get in. I'm like, whoa, I'm onto something. I hadn't made an offer yet. Every day I cried, though.
Because?
The fact that I'm telling my life, I'm
strangers.
sharing. Yes.
Wow.
But what was happening when I was doing that, Myron, every single night, it felt like dead skin was literally falling off of my body.
Because you're not holding it in. Now you're like you're dealing with it.
Oh, I'm out there. My ex was like, I can't believe you're out here. People are sending me these videos. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is working. But I kept going because I made a promise that I'm going to serve you with every part of my being. And one day I made an offer. Like, hey,
do you remember what your first offer was?
Yes, divorce coaching.
And?
I would walk with you on this journey for 4 months, didn't have a program or whatever. Women kept asking me, how can I work with you? How can I do this? How can I do that? I said, okay, it was just $1,000. Matter of fact, it was $1,700. Don't ask me where the $700 came from. I don't know. For 4 months, and women began to come. And then they started to ask, well, can I work with you one-to-one? And I said, sure. I'll go to court with you. I would be in court. Yeah, I would be in divorce court. There would be their attorney. There would be my client, and I would be on the left. And every judge always asked this, who are you? That was free advertisement. I'm her divorce coach. I'm just here to walk her through the process, from attorneys to new clients in the room every single time. I did that for a short period, probably a year, only a year.
So how much did you charge for that?
That was like $6,000
Wow.
back at the time. It was about $6,000. And women were like, sure. And then I knew my prices were too low because everybody was coming. And then one day I'm at an event, probably about 1,000 women in the room. I'm speaking. Now I'm traveling, speaking. I wrote a book about divorce. I'm doing all these amazing things, but it still didn't feel like it was enough.
It didn't feel like your groove.
And I'm on a stage, and I come off the stage, and I'm learning more about offering from stage and selling, and this young lady walks up to me. I see her face, and she says, Dr. Sonja, I need to talk to you. I've been following you on Periscope, and there's a team of people, and they're like, hey, you need to go to the back of the room, to purchase. She said, no, my husband and I are fine. What are you doing at this conference? It's about relationships, bad relationships, actually. And she said, I've been watching you. I want you to teach me to do what you do. And I'm not even thinking at the time.
What do I do?
Yeah, exactly.
What you want me to teach you?
Took an order form, took it on the back. She said, how much would it be for me to work with you? I said, $10,000. She said, do you take American Express? She passed me her American Express card. We swiped her card. That was the beginning of business coaching. In a world where the voices of women are not just heard, but are a foundation for change and impact, comes an event that stands as a beacon for ambition, impact, and transformation. Welcome to Schedule Your Payday, the live event set to change the game for women everywhere. This April 2024, join me and many other dynamic speakers for a 3-day journey designed for women service providers, business owners, coaches, authors, and thought leaders.
who are on a quest for more than success. They're desiring leverage, legacy, and liberation. With limited seats available, this event promises to be the turning point for countless women ready to transform their businesses and their lives. Be part of an exclusive group of ambitious women ready to take actionable steps toward their dreams. Don't miss out on the event of the year, possibly the century. Schedule your payday. Tickets will sell out fast. Now, if you're struggling with sales, visibility, and scaling your business to new heights, be sure to secure your spot now and step into the future where your voice is not just being heard, but you're being seen as a force for change. I will see you there, and I'll see the warriors. I'll see you on top. And remember, be the change, be the legacy, schedule your payday.
And I never looked back.
Wow.
And so what I realized is he just wants you, when I say he, God just wants you to get started. Once you get started, you'll see the path. You may not be able to see the clear vision, but you'll see the path. That was the beginning of me changing and making this transition to business coaching.
Wow. Okay. So I'm just going to recap what I heard.
Of course.
And then I'm going to ask you if what I see is accurate or am I missing something.
Okay. Go for it.
You're a 12-year-old girl. You see an ad about being all you can be.
I see a
Join the
sticker
Army.
on my door.
A sticker on your door.
At home.
Be all you can be.
Yes.
Like a bumper sticker.
Yes.
Join the Army. Be all you can be. Cool. So you knew you wanted to join the Army.
Yes.
You have a baby at 15.
Yes.
You get married at what age? Or did you go to college
22.
first?
I went to college first.
Went to college.
Yes.
Almost graduated. Three courses short of
Yes.
graduating. You get married.
Yes.
When did you, and then you joined the military?
No, I was already in the military.
So you joined the military.
Right after basic training, I went to our specialty training. I met him at that
Okay.
specialty training.
So did you go to college first or?
Yes, I went to college first.
First, and then after you got out of college, you joined the military.
Yes.
And then you met your
Ex-husband,
former husband
yes.
in the military.
Yes.
Y'all got married,
Yes.
started have some other kids.
Yes.
And then you go off to war.
Yes. We both
And was he in the war?
Yes.
He was in the military too? So both of y'all are at war. Who's with
Same
the,
war.
Who's with the kids?
They're with his parents.
Wow.
All three of them. We had three at this time. They were with the parents.
Okay. Now I lost my train of I'm processing
Yes.
wait, what? Okay. So then you're in the military for how long before you decide you want to be an officer?
About 4 years.
4 years. And then you take a class every other year for 3 years
Yep.
before you can go to officer
Candidate school.
So now you're in the military for 7 years. And then you go to officer candidate school, which is 90 days.
Now, mind you, go back.
Okay.
At the 4 years, I'm taking a class during those 4 years.
Right.
Then I went to some training.
During the
Yes.
first 4 years. So it
So-
wasn't 3 years after that.
Right.
It was during the 4
By
years.
the 5th year, I was already in officer candidate school. I was
Okay,
fast
gotcha.
tracking.
Okay,
yes.
so you're fast tracking. Okay,
Yes.
got it. Then you go off to the military. You're in command of all these people, civilians,
Yes.
up to 60,000 people, 30 to 60,000 people
Yes.
under your responsibility.
Yes, of tracking them. Yes.
And you're tracking them. And then you get injured. You come home. Was it like medical discharge or like your time? You were just retired.
No,
Time
I
was
stayed
up.
in. No, I stayed in.
You
I
stayed
stayed
in.
in 10 more years after that. Almost 10, probably. Yeah.
Okay,
Almost
that's
10 more
far-
years
okay,
after that.
Okay, 10 more years.
Yeah.
And then you come out. You go through a divorce. It's not fun. It's
No,
not pretty.
I went through the divorce while I was still active duty military.
While you're still active duty military. And then you start coaching women on being divorced.
Yes.
And then somebody wants you to teach them how to take their life
Yes.
and turn it into a business like you turned your life
Yes.
into a business, even though you didn't realize that's what you were doing.
Exactly.
So here's my question.
Okay, can I jump in? I left out one thing.
Okay, please do.
At 17, I got to put this in there because a lot of women that come, this happened to me. 15, I had a baby. 17, I was raped and left for dead. So mind you, I feel like I've been in war my whole life, so why not?
Just being alive was a battle.
Yes, absolutely. So I put that in there just so you know the premise of by the time I got married, I shouldn't have, but I did. And 17, as a young woman, that changed the trajectory of my life.
Wow. It's a lot of stuff to go through.
It is.
But it's also a lot of stuff to grow through.
Yes. Oh, that's good.
And I believe probably, what I'm getting out of this whole story is too many people go through things in their life that they're unwilling to grow through, and so they stay stuck in that moment of that event or that thing or that tragedy, as opposed to growing through it and letting it turn them into the person who can do the thing that will not just change their life, but will change the lives of other people.
Absolutely.
Am I missing something?
Oh, no, you got it right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I just want you to know I'm paying attention.
Okay.
Okay. So now you go from, you teach one person for $10,000, you swipe her card, you say, that was just $10,000. How long did you work with that lady?
Probably just 4 months.
4 months. And you're like, I'm gonna put that on rinse and repeat.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so you started selling business coaching, teaching women how to coach.
Yes, teaching them how to take their life experience and their knowledge to build their own empire, just have their own economy. That's what I was looking at, because I saw so many women. I feel like we really take on the responsibility for everybody else. We're our spouse's wife, we're our children's mother, and we always come last. And that's how I felt like I was my entire life. I was taking care of everybody else. In the military, I was taking care of everybody else, but I never really gave myself the opportunity, what is it that you want? And so I realized that it wasn't just me. I started asking. They're like, that's me too, that's me too. And I was like, wow.
It's a thing.
Yes, it is.
And so now how long ago did you do that $10,000? What year?
My gosh,
How many years ago was that?
Ooh, it's almost 6, 7 years, maybe 8, more like 8.
8 years.
Yeah.
8 years ago, you got your
8 years
first.
ago.
I'm going to teach you how to take your life experience, turn it into a coaching program.
Yes.
And since then, you've coached dozens of women, hundreds, thousands, like how many?
So 354,000 people just in the last 3 years, from virtual, live and in-person events, teaching this. Inner circle, I sit back, that just hit me. That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people. That's not even a small town. That's a medium-sized town.
But it doesn't feel like
Scratching the surface?
not at all.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you a question about 3 different kinds of people.
Okay.
What would you say to the woman right now who's watching this interview, and she can relate to some of the stuff that you've been through, her version of that, which is going to be different, clearly, for whatever reason, but it's going to be similar because she's been through some traumatic, tragic, difficult situations, and so she thinks that because she's gone through those things, that she's not valuable. Like, what would you say to her?
I'll look in the camera and even say it to her. You think that it happened to you, but it actually happened for you. And it's not just for you. It's for the person that is coming after you that has been praying and thinking about you showing up. She's been praying for you to show up. She doesn't know exactly what you look like, but she knows your voice. And as soon as you get in front of her or in front of them, they know instantly that you're the one. It is almost like, Myron, that it's a setup. Like you've been set up from the time before you came out of your mother's womb to do this. And you don't even know you're built for it. If you went back and asked me what happened then, and some of you, I don't know how I got here. I know it's by the grace of God. I know that. But I don't know how in the world did you go from 15 years old having a child to now having a highly successful...
An 8-figure business. That's mind-blowing. And most people would say, that's an unlikely success story. But I submit to you, I believe, based on what you said and based on what you just told those ladies, I believe that it's the unlikely that makes you the success story. Because otherwise it would just be like, oh, just another day in the life of Sonja, right? But instead, she goes from this girl who has a baby at 15, who gets raped at 17, who goes off to the military, gets injured with an IED, and now, one of the things you said was so powerful, it didn't happen to you, it happened for you. Everything that happens to you happens for you. And the worst stuff that ever happens to you in your life is the stuff that sets you up for the best stuff that ever happens to you in your life, if you're aware. But if you're not aware, if you think, oh, it just happened to me, and you miss the flip side of that, you miss out on so much, but the people you were sent to serve miss out on so much.
See, I think one of the biggest things we have to understand is that there's a difference in powerful women and strong women.
Okay.
Strong women are just surviving. I could have easily been just a strong woman. I was raised by a strong mom. It was just about survival. There was no conversation about thriving. And when you come over to this powerful place, it is we're taking what happened to us, and it's not a woe is me, this happened to me. I share the story openly, but I don't share it for as woe is me, because everybody doesn't have a trauma story. I have to understand that. And it's okay if you do or you don't.
Right.
But it's not okay for you to still be, at this day and age, as a grown woman, still talking about just surviving. At what point do you get to, I'm thriving? And the biggest thing is you could take what you've been through and help somebody else overcome. It no longer was about me, Myron. That day I said that prayer, it wasn't about me anymore.
So interesting. That just reminded me of something Jesus said. He who will be greatest among you, let him be servant of all. So what if instead of looking at all the stuff that happened to us as just trauma or tragic stuff that happened to us, what if we looked at it as God preparing us for what he already has prepared for us to serve people?
If everyone looked at it that way,
the world would be a different place, wouldn't it?
I believe some cultures would have a financial turnaround so fast that they wouldn't know what to do.
I saw what you did there. That was good. That was really good.
It would be a game changer for many families.
It would be a game changer for many families, for sure. Second question for the people watching right now. What would you say to the woman who is successful? She's either got a really thriving business or a thriving career in a business. She's an executive. Maybe she's making six figures, high six figures, maybe even high seven figures. But she hates what she has to do to make that money. And she wants a life by design instead of a life by default. But she feels like there's no place else I can go and make this kind of money. What would you say to her?
Before I jump into that, let me share. I did work in corporate America outside the military for 9 long months.
9 whole months? I don't even know how you lasted that long.
No, it was long.
Long.
Yeah, it was just long. And when you said that, I was an executive because the golden handcuffs were calling my name because they told us traditionally that's what you're supposed to do. So I would say to her,
after you got out of the military as an officer, you go become an executive.
Yeah.
And you had a business degree.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then I had a HR degree, and then I went back and got a PhD thinking that they was going to help me, as a counselor. So I thought all of that was going to help me be highly successful. I thought that was going to help me be, because I had this thought, Myron, I wanted to be a millionaire. Hadn't been around them, but I knew there was something out there, and I said, if I didn't come from a wealthy family, I heard somebody else say it, now I say it, if I didn't come from a wealthy family, let a wealthy family come from me.
I quote you all the time. I give you credit for it every time.
I appreciate that. I got it from somebody. I can't remember where it came from. Yeah. It was just in passing. I think I added some words in there somewhere. But nonetheless, I would tell her if she's in this job, and I'll say it like everybody else says it, just over broke. If they decided to let you go today, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? If they decided they don't need you anymore and they're going to go hire
someone else. They can pay somebody else half the money to do more work.
And you helped a company generate millions.
Come on now.
Why are you not generating millions in your own business?
Say that.
They send you to school, they do all these things, and I would just say to her.
And act like they're doing you a favor.
Oh, yeah. I would just ask her, how's that working out for you? You're in a cubicle or in your own office, going to work every single day, away from your family. They tell you when you can take lunch. They tell you when you can take vacation. You get 2 weeks.
They tell you when you can go to the bathroom.
When you have a doctor's appointment. My son played for the University of Michigan at one point, the middle son, and I had one in high school. I would do Friday night lights. I was working in corporate. I would go to work to about 6 or 7 o'clock. I started on the side, a divorce coach, and then I went over to counseling. I would drive after a 10:30 game at night on a Friday. I would drive 12 straight hours to the University of Michigan to be in the big house for a 1 o'clock game. No sleep, and I did that for a year. No, those 9 months. Full year, I was exhausted. And I said, I can't do this.
I almost fell asleep when you was telling me I'm so tired.
I was falling asleep at the
12 hours?
12 hours to make sure I was there for my son because they wouldn't give me the time off on Monday or that Friday, so I couldn't do it. Plus, it was just a lot. And I just sit back, and the women that are coming now are more executives because they're trying to figure out what else am I good at. I'm not fulfilled. Yes, I'm making 6 figures, but I'm not fulfilled. I want to be able to enjoy my time.
With the people you care the most about.
Exactly.
Doing the things you'd rather do instead of the things you'd rather not do.
And why not do something you love? I know without a shadow of a doubt, most of these women are already coaching. They're just not getting paid for it.
So did you have somebody growing up encouraging you to go do great things? Like what?
The conversations at the round table or the table with my mom, stay away from boys and don't get pregnant. I did the opposite of what she said. That's what happened. It wasn't until I was coaching anyway. I would find service members when we were deployed. Wherever I went, I always had a room full of people. It was normally a Thursday night. We come in, we talk about finances, and the rooms kept getting bigger and bigger. And someone saw me and said, hey, you ever thought about coaching? Would you call me? Because it was a curse word. I didn't know what coaching was. I didn't. I was still active duty military. And he said, you should think about coaching. He was a sergeant major, the senior person in the military. And he said, he saw something in me.
Wow. And he said, you should think about coaching.
And once a week we met. I can't remember what we talked about. I just kept thinking, man, this may be too hard, but I got to figure out what I'm going to do.
It's interesting how, like when the path is not clear,
yes,
that we fight for our limitations. Isn't that interesting?
Yes, it is.
But there's another lady I want you to address. So we addressed the woman who feels like we addressed the executive. What would you say to the woman who doesn't value herself because she's never been apparently valued by the people around her? Because I think it sounds to me, you're 15, you're 12, you have a vision. You're 15, you have a baby. You're 17, you get raped. You go to the military after you graduate, after you almost finish college.
Yeah.
You get married, you have children, you go through a divorce, you're enlisted, you have this lieutenant who's still wet behind the ears telling you something that you know doesn't make sense, and I ain't putting up with this no more.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like people were saying, you are gonna be a superstar, go change the world. So
it was the opposite. I was voted least likely to succeed in high school.
That's so crazy. That's the first time I've ever heard of anybody other than me.
Are you serious?
I didn't even get least likely to succeed. It was worse than that. I got most likely to get on your nerves award.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
people are so mean, aren't they?
they can be. Yeah.
So mean, but it's okay. They help. They're there for a reason.
That's the fuel. I bet I'm really getting on their nerves now.
Exactly.
So how about have yourself some of that right there? Okay, so what would you say to that woman who feels like she can't, she's not worth it, she's not worthy, who wants to hear from you? What have you done?
Permission is for parking tickets only. It's just for parking tickets. It is not for you to wait on somebody else to tell you what to do. It's just not there. That's not what we're here for. And once I came to that realization, I don't need anybody else telling me, what did God say about me? When that whole thing, when I started thinking, what did he say about me? And it wasn't he said it about her and he said it about her. No, he said that about me. And I started thinking, if I had a daughter, I only have sons, if I had a daughter and I was sitting down with her, would I be okay with her coming to say, no, mommy, I can't do this, or no, mommy, even with my sons, I don't feel this way. Is it okay? It's not okay for you not to want to do something powerful or something great, and you have to get somebody else's permission. And what I realize, a lot of women, they do not want that for their children.
But they're okay with it for themselves.
For themselves.
Ooh.
She is sitting back somewhere thinking, I'm not good enough. I can't do this. Well, Dr. Sonja, you have a degree. The truth be told, all my degrees got in the way.
Well.
They got in the way. I remember once, Myron, I got some coaches back then that were helping me, and it took me 90 days to get my mind right. Not 90 days with a strategy. 90 days to get my mind right, to give myself permission to say it's okay for you to ask for what you're worth. One day I made an offer. It was a $250,000 day. I freaked out. I'm like, oh my goodness, I need to do this again before it runs out. I've been doing it for the last almost 10 years. And it wasn't because of the money. It was a simple fact that I realized I was onto something and that people were open. It's just like non-traditional education. We'll go to college. We'll do all those things.
Oh, for real, for real.
But when it comes to self-development, business development, it's like a struggle.
Have you helped women make six figures?
Oh, yes. I've helped women make seven figures.
I kind of had a sneaky suspicion that would be the answer.
Yes.
But I think it's important for people to hear that Because when you think about how many people graduate from college
Yes.
and can't even get a job making the amount their college costs per year.
And they're still paying for college.
And they're still paying for the college loan
Yeah.
20 years later,
Yes.
even though they're not doing anything with the piece of paper they hung on their wall, except maybe hanging the piece of paper on their wall. That might be a clue.
Imagine in the next 90 days,
Imagine in the next 90 days.
you really focus. One thing the military taught me very well is about you do not quit until the mission is complete. You leave no one behind. Now, what I have to add, I'm not dragging anybody. I weigh $125. I cannot carry anybody on my back, but I can walk hand in hand with them. So imagine that 90 days we gave ourselves to sit and focus on what in my life has happened that somebody else could learn from and glean from. And I give them, I call it the cake recipe. You know, when you think about, I like red velvet.
Okay.
My mother-in-law, my ex-mother-in-law per se, had this great red velvet cake recipe.
Okay.
And there was particular things that she put in it different from everybody else. And if you followed those very instructions, you had a perfect red velvet cake. Melt in your mouth. It
Come on,
tastes
yeah.
so great. I call it a cake recipe. Take the cake recipe, give them instructions on what to put in your particular cake that you're helping them build, and help them get the results that they want, but help them get there faster. If you would just do that very thing and don't overthink the process about, oh, it's got to be perfect, because most perfectionists that I know are broke. You got with that. And so just thinking about the cake recipe, thinking about giving them very clear instructions on what to do, and not overthinking the process. Imagine where you could be 90 days from now.
Wow, that's so cool. So a cake recipe. So basically what I think I hear you saying is becoming successful is like baking a cake. All you have to do is follow the instructions.
Yes.
That's awesome. Now, something you said earlier, and I'm fascinated by it, but I think I could use a little clarification. You said permission is for parking tickets.
Yes, it's actually validation is for parking tickets only.
Validation.
Yes,
Okay.
validation is
Now
for
I
parking
get it.
tickets only. Yes.
Because people are walking around looking for validation from other people.
All the time.
And they don't need it.
Yes.
Because the fact is your life story and your life experiences are your validation.
Yes.
So you don't need to get it from somebody else.
Absolutely
Go ahead
not.
with your bad side. So now that you've addressed the three different avatars of women who are watching this video right now, I know you got a new book coming out.
Yes.
And the cover is fire. I'm
Oh.
sure the inside of the book is even more fire. Tell us about that new book.
The title is From the Battlefield to the Boardroom.
From the battlefield to the boardroom. Wow.
Yes, and most people, when you look at it, when I thought about it, I was like, I want to make sure it's for all women that really need this, because I didn't want the battlefield to be too much. But what I realized that we all have our own battlefield. It doesn't have to be a physical battlefield. It could be a mental battlefield. It could be a financial battlefield. It could be a relational.
A spiritual battlefield.
Yes.
One of the things I tell people, in fact, I did a video on this called Poverty is Always the Result of Spiritual Warfare.
Ooh, that's good.
It is.
It's the truth, too.
And so if you broke, you're in a battle, and you may not know it, but you're about to find out. Right? So from the battlefield to the boardroom, that's so good.
A woman's infinite desire to win in life, business, and career.
Let's go.
It's just time.
It is time.
It is time for, I would say, more women to step up to the plate. And I tell people, I don't train ballerinas. I don't train princesses.
Come on here.
I train warriors. And it's for women that are warring for the life and the legacy that they want to build.
Wow. So good. So good, Doc. So people that want to connect with you, they want to learn from you, you teach people how to do coaching, you teach them how to do speaking.
Be a triple threat. I
Be a triple
teach
threat.
them
Okay, tell me
how
about the
to be a
triple threat. Tell me about the triple threat.
There is no way that you should be an author and not be coaching and speaking. And I know somebody's going to argue, no, you shouldn't do that. Be a triple threat. If you really think about it, if you take your life and put it in a book, now I'm not talking about, we're not Oprah and Michelle Obama, just it's a memoir, it's about my life. No. Give them some learning tools, some teaching tools that they can apply to their life based on what you've been through, right? Think about being a speaker. You're already speaking anyway. You're speaking in front of kids. You're at church on Sunday speaking. You're at your corporate job has you speaking on stages. and they're not paying you anything extra.
Well,
Why don't you take your voice, give your voice a story and a bank account is what I say.
let's go.
And so if you're out here speaking, why don't you just get paid to speak and share? And then the third one, coaching. We're doing it anyway.
Might as
These
well
are
get
things-
paid for it.
Might as well. And sooner than later.
So can I give you a title for your sequel for your Battlefield to the Boardroom?
Yes.
The Triple Threat Trifecta.
Ooh, okay, I like it. We're going to do that one right after this one.
Yeah, that's like the Triple Threat Trifecta, why every woman should be speaking, coaching, and writing books.
Done. Let me go ahead and get that out there now before this is out there so we can have
That
it.
part.
It done.
Okay.
Done for sure.
Wow. Yeah, what you're doing is amazing. How you're helping women is amazing. The success stories of the people who are working with you are remarkable. Your success story, first time I ever met you, I'm like, you doing what? I mean, you're a superstar. But most people are, they just don't step into it.
But we need to get in rooms with other superstars like yourself. And I remember when I met you, I said, I can learn from him. I can follow his lead. I can listen and sit at his feet. That's one thing I really want you to know, how amazing you are. And I'm not just saying it because we're sitting here, but you really are.
Well, thank
and
you.
how you teach us in such a way, I need to learn like a third grader.
And everybody does though. You know what's really interesting to me? It's interesting to me that most of us are children at heart.
Yes.
But we've been programmed to manufacture a plastic avatar of what we think an adult is, and that's what we show everybody. And most people put the little kid inside of them in a closet somewhere, in the booth in the back in the corner in the dark. And I know for a fact that we will be far more impactful if we will let the little kid in us connect with the little kid and the people we serve.
Oh, yeah.
Way more than trying to impress the adult we serve with the plastic avatar of the adult in us.
So over trying to impress people.
Like,
I'm just
so over it.
Not at
Yeah,
all.
like, so
impress
not-
upon them, but not impress them.
Come on now.
Yes. So,
Yeah, impact is way more important than being impressive.
but I really thank you for being bold enough to stand up and share. I needed you when you showed up. I'm in Australia speaking and I'm doing great things, and somebody's like, hey, have you met this dude? His name is Myron Golden. I'm like, no. Shortly after that, you start popping up all on my social media. I was like, who is this guy that I don't know? And he's teaching Solomon the principles. That was a game changer, Myron. There weren't most people that were teaching at that time, it was more about the spiritual journey, but I would say it was more religion than a spiritual journey. I connected right away. It was before the pandemic, what have you. You said Florida, I was on a plane. I drove, because at that time it was kind of scary to get on planes. I drove to you, I remember, almost every month to learn. And it's been a game changer.
Wow.
Sometimes you need, I shared with you once, remember, I said, Myron, I'm going to borrow your confidence until I have my own.
Well,
And so I share that with my clients, just borrow mine.
Right.
And yours is so big, I'm like, I need that. Because there are times, even when you believe you've made it, there's always room for growth. And I just
100%.
thank you for being that model, the visionary who helps me see, because I believe all coaches need a coach. We all have our blind spots.
a coach that does not have a coach does not deserve to be your coach.
I'm not working with them. I'm sorry.
Hey.
If I don't know you're not working with anybody, and I don't have to know exactly who it is.
I just got back from a 5-day mastermind. I mean, we're doing all right, you know. Our business is doing all right.
Yeah.
And I just got back from a 5-day mastermind, sitting under my coach, letting him coach me, and a couple people from my team on the moves we need to make. So yeah,
Yes.
woe be unto me if I think I have all the answers.
You know, when it really hit me, and I'll say this, is when we realized that over 300,000 women that we've been able to serve, but helping them, the inner circle, generate $18 million in the last 3 years.
Let's go.
That in itself, and having a 28 million, and I say that, let me explain why I say these numbers. Because I realize most women are not going to drop receipts. I sit at a round table with other millionaires, mostly men. First off, I'm kind of tired of being the only woman at the table majority of the time, and I want my sisters to join me. But I realized, because we don't really say numbers, it's something in us that we can talk about relationships, we can talk about our hair, we can talk about our makeup. Oh, definitely clothes. But when it
Don't
comes
forget
to dropping,
shoes now.
Oh, yeah, you're right. But
And
we
shoes.
will not drop numbers and receipts, and it's not to brag or to boast, it's to let someone know, least
This is
likely to
possible.
succeed.
Yeah, this is possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's possible for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's good stuff. So somebody who desires to connect with you, be coached by you, learn from you, be in a space with you,
Yeah.
where should they go?
Women Speak and Grow Rich.
Women Speak and Grow Rich.
Can I elaborate a little bit?
Sure.
Yes, Women Speak and Grow Rich. But I would say more so go to drsonjabrands.com and find out even more, because I know we did this, but just read more. And I realize some people may not be ready right now, but if nothing else, follow me at drsonjabrands.com on all social media platforms. I am Dr. Sonja, because there's a lot of things going down that I know a lot more women need to partake in, or just count themselves
Worthy.
in this, yes,
Worthy.
on this journey to your next level.
Good stuff.
This upcoming year is about the year of elevation. Last year was about expansion. This is elevation, because there are some things that are about to happen that most of us cannot imagine.
About to level up.
Level up. I was going to do the dance, but I can't do that dance and sing the song. But yes, absolutely.
Good stuff, Dr. Sonja.
Thank
Good
you.
stuff. I appreciate you. Like, I learned things today that I had no idea about, and just like you said something. You said, you know, you're with somebody and they train you to jump in front of a bullet.
Yes.
The thought to jump in front of a bullet, honestly,
Yes.
has never crossed my mind. I appreciate how you've turned your life experiences that were not all pleasurable into something that can be profitable for other people.
Yes.
So thank you for being who you are and showing up the way you show up. And congratulations on all your success.
Thank you.
And congratulations to your students who are smart enough to know that working with you was their best chance
Yes.
at their best life.
Absolutely. Thank you, Myron.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.